welcome back. I'm just really enjoying this conversation about financial planning. And again, I want to thank you for taking the time to do this.
Me too, Nancy. I'm enjoying this as well.
So, how do you find a really great financial planner?
Well, there's one thing that I think is crucial. The first thing to realize is that all financial planners are not the same. There might be someone who calls themselves a financial planner that just focuses on insurance. And then there might be a financial planner that just does assets under management, where the conversation begins and ends with rates of return and investment strategies. So the first thing to look at is a comprehensive financial planner. What is the scale and the scope of the work that they're going to do with you? And how often are they reviewing these areas? Like, are they just a disability specialist? Are they just a life insurance specialist? Are they, the CFP designation is important because it gives you a rounded education in all of these different areas. So it's a clear delineator between somebody that just calls himself a financial advisor or a financial planner and someone who's really done the academic work and testing to be able to be qualified to speak in all of these different areas. So a comprehensive financial planner versus just someone who's called a financial planner or advisor. Then the second point that I would say is a fiduciary. A fiduciary takes a stand and an oath to do what's in your best interest legally, and it stands as a repercussion if they don't do that as in operating in your best interest. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of different advisors in your day, Nancy, and it's not like walking into a Ford dealership where you know that the person's there to sell you a Ford works for Ford, and there's no conflict of you understand it. If I ask them about a Chevy, they're going to give me an unfavorable opinion of a Chevy, and they're going to talk to me about a Ford. Well, you put out the term financial advisor or financial planner, and it's not as clear cut in all the different areas of financial planning.
One of the things that I think differentiates you from a lot of financial planners is your holistic approach to the whole issue of financial planning. Are there any keys to finding a holistic financial planner like you?
Well, we live in America where there's so many great opportunities to start a business and so many different financial advisors out there. And so you as a consumer have the right to find somebody that fits exactly what you're looking for. And so when somebody comes into our office, we always encourage them to talk to other financial advisors, because if we're not what they want, we don't want to have like a relationship that's conflicted or strained at all. Maybe somebody just wants an investment advisor. They don't want a comprehensive approach. So really just asking questions and not being afraid to get underneath the hood of the practice, because there can be a lot of platitudes and industry jargon. We're really asking the questions of how will you help me in tax planning? Or how can you be a strategist when it comes to my estate? What are the plans that we'd put in place when it comes to my protection or my retirement distribution? Not just a beginning and end conversation based off of a single product.
Right. So obviously the question I get when I recommend to my clients that they have a financial planner or go back to their financial planner, how do you get paid?
Oh, that's really good. So again, the point that I like to look at with this is, let's just use an analogy here, Nancy. Let's say that there's a butcher and then there's a dietitian. And you may have heard this analogy before. Have you heard this before?
I haven't, but I'm smiling anyway.
When you go into meet with a butcher, they're not going to tell you, hey, this is the third time you've been in here for steaks this week. Maybe you should go and get some vegetables or, settle down on the meat. They're just going to sell you what they have, which is their meat. And, that is fine. But let's look at the approach of a dietitian. A dietitian's job is to give you advice based off of your overall health experience, elevating your health. So a lot of people are actually working with what I'd call, quote unquote, a butcher from a financial planning perspective, where they're just the advisor is getting paid for the transaction of a product, whether that's a mutual fund or an insurance policy, or it might be an annuity. once that transaction's done, the commission has been paid, and really there's not incentive to keep the client advisor relationship going. Where on the other hand, in a dietitian type of perspective, the fee is being paid for ongoing coaching and advising to help them be in an overall better financial situation. And so a fee-based creates more of a dynamic relationship between the client and the advisor.
So it's transactional as opposed to
like fee-based.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
and one thing on that, Nancy, is that it should be very clear. Like it shouldn't have to be a diving deep into documents that are 50 pages long to identify how much you're paying the advisor for that advice. It should be very transparent and clear.
Great. So what are the 3 top common questions you get as a financial planner, and what are the answers?
Well, the first question that comes up for sure most often is, do I have enough money to retire? And that is such a common asked question. And how long will it last? That's the second most commonly asked question. But I would say the third most commonly asked question is, what do you do? Like, what do you do as a financial advisor? Because going back to what I said, there's so many different angles of finance, where it could be insurance, it could just be cash flow management, whether it might be investment management. What's the breadth of your practice? And that's a question that I would encourage everyone to ask is, what are the areas that you really focus on with your clients?
Cool. All right. Fantastic. We have learned a ton. We work together. Obviously, you probably appreciate that in the course of this podcast. And I have found Mr. Black to be fantastic, works with clients. We have a synergistic relationship as we help our clients plan for filing a disability application or dealing with the financial application or aftermath of disability. So if you want to get a hold of Greg, he's at Tencap. You can call him at 801-790-2386. Do you have anything to say in closing?
I do, Nancy. I just want to acknowledge you. I just can't tell you how grateful we are to have a resource like you that we can work with. There's so much confusion and overwhelming, and just I would say like it can really be an insurmountable obstacle for people as they go through this process of applying for disability coverage, help when they're in a disability case. Having somebody like you on our team has just been an incredible resource for us, because you've dealt with this so many times. You've seen all the different obstacles that people have to overcome. So I want to acknowledge you and your team and thank you for the great help that you provide to us.
Well, great. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time today to speak with us.
You bet. Bye-bye.